Thank you so much for that. I apologize for that, but I just want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn on your Wednesday, that is. And for those of you that are not sure whether or not you're coming in, thank you so much for considering coming into Black Spring with Autumn. And we're going to take, of course, a word to thank our sponsors, our patrons, as well as our subscribers, um, whether you're on YouTube or whether you're on Twitch. And of course, I will take an opportunity to say, please check us out on Twitch. I know it's a little cumbersome to kind of juggle and to go from place to place to place, but it's kind of a survivorship that we're dealing with these days. And I'm going to be right back with more for you on your Wednesday. And thank you guys so much. And also, if you haven't had an opportunity, if you could help us out by feeding the all-knowing AI, that would help us out tremendously and supporting the channel. So if you could like, share, and or subscribe, or just make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, because I think they're shoring up the censorship by the day. So we'll be right back right after this. Alrighty. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I just want to say hello to everybody in the chat. And thank you guys so much for the feedback on the sound. I do apologize for that. So hello to Anarchy Television, R. Jones, John H. Roberts Jr. Thank you so much for coming in. And of course, the Lockhart Perspective. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for your support. Just you guys being here is always a form of support, and you're welcome around here. So let's just I just want to talk a little bit candidly, a little bit openly, if you don't mind. So we've got all kinds of things that are going on. Of course, we're not short on developments. We're not short on, what can I say, trends or edicts or fiat rule, or we're not short on any of that. But what I want to do is just out of curiosity, we do have a couple of stories. I'm going to tell you what those stories are to start off our Wednesday. So we have some developments. It looks like we're going to have we have some testimonials coming out from people, that are getting mocktailed up. We've got a story from our friends at the TNA, in which looks like Texas is going to move to secure the border with Mexico. We also have BLM efforts complete with action projects to try to remove or expel 100 Republicans in Congress. And it looks like we may have a couple of projects that you might be interested in. So, I try to present solutions where available around here. So it looks like we might have some resolutions. There might be some more options for you when it comes to your neck of the woods, when it comes to, getting mocktailed. So got a couple of things that you might be interested in. And it's coming out of the medical community. Of course, you can look at those things. This is not a channel this is not a health channel. I'm not a health professional, not a healthcare professional on any stretch, but there is information out there, and we're going to take that from the America's Frontline Doctors. We're going to take that, and we'll take a look at maybe even a couple of other action items that we can do. So, hope you guys are doing well out there. I really do. So let's just start out with, I thought we might start this out. I try not to drip too much of the the celeb culture on the channel, but every now and then I just think that it's I try to pay attention to who's actually on the front. So on the front of the propaganda. So that's why this is a little bit apropos to the mocktail. So it looks like the juice gets the moonshot. Now, if you're not familiar, if you're not familiar with the juice, you might even wonder why I have a why do we have juice for the thumbnail? But I'm going to take you to that clip, and also I'm going to take you to some opposition some opposition that was encountered in Southern California in reference to the mocktail. So we've got some things going on. Just here's the thing. Just because it's not being disseminated, some of the action that's going on is not being disseminated through the mainstream media, it doesn't mean that it's not happening. So, we have to keep that in mind. And then in the other words, some people, what's the saying go, sometimes you need to laugh or you need to smile. Sometimes whether you're trying to hold back tears or whatever you're trying to do. But I guess try not to hang your head because, things are going on. Some people are, rattling a few cages or, doing what they can. So hang in there. I really appreciate it. So I just want to go ahead and share this first story with you. And this story is going to come from Lockhart says, the thumbnail made you thirsty. See, you need that vitamin C. You need that vitamin C in these times. And there again, I'm not giving medical advice, but vitamin C never hurts anybody. But we'll see what happens here. So just want to give you a little account. You got a little bit of a hero or a blast from the past, and looks like he's got a role in some things. So I'm going to take you right on over to none other than O.J. Simpson on Twitter. So pucker up. Got a little inspiration.
Hey, Twitter world,
here.
it's me, yours truly. Well, as you may have heard by now, I got my COVID shot this week. I recently celebrated my 34th annual 39th birthday, so I qualified here in Nevada. So my daughter and I spent about 4 hours over a 2-day period waiting on the telephone. She did most of it to get my reservation. I got my reservations, and then I went to my local Walgreens, waited in a very short line, and I got my shot. Now, I have one friend, golf buddy of mine. He got the Moderna shot last week, and his shoulder was sore for a couple of days. Another friend of mine, he got the Pfizer like I did, and he was actually nauseous and sick for a couple of days. Me, I've had no effects. I mean, I've had no ill effects. I'm just fine. Nothing. I'm just teasing. But no, I've had no ill effect whatsoever. Let's talk Super Bowl. We're a week away. Now, I normally cheer, for the Buffalo Bills, the 49ers, but overall, I cheer for the American League team because I played in Buffalo. Individuals like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and Edelman, these guys, they're from the Bay Area, so I cheer for them. But normally, I will cheer for the American League team, and I will be cheering for Kansas City. But I watched that game about 6-7 weeks ago when Kansas City played Tampa. Kansas City destroyed them in the first half, but in the second half, hey, Tampa found the elixir. Whatever they did at halftime, they came back and they almost won that game. So where I'll be cheering for Kansas City, if I had to bet and I could get those 3.5 points, I would be betting for Tampa Bay. I'm just saying, hey, wear your mask, get the shot. Take care.
All right. So as you can see, you got to add a little juice to the campaign, right? Get a little, the juice has got his moonshot. So, why not? He's still iconic, right? I mean, come on. I don't know about the generations in here, but I think everybody can recognize who that personality was, if I can say that. And so there you go. You got, dare I say it? I'm going to tell you. My language is slightly provocative. Is can we call that blackface? Another version in the spirit of mocktails. So we'll see what happens there. And I'm going to read a couple of comments there because I thought that was it was interesting enough to warm things up. But I'm going to take you to some opposition, some civil disobedience, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it was happening in an area near you, maybe not, but I thought this was interesting as well. So before I do that, I'm also going to say hello to everybody in the chat once again. If you're just now coming in, I really appreciate it. And what do we have? Thank you guys so much for coming in. R. Jones says, R. Jones says he probably got a placebo. Ronnie Mann says Black Spring with Autumn, MD. Okay, Ronnie, for in the sake of credentialing me, I'll take a DM. I'll take the DM instead of the MD. But I would think about that distinction. I would prefer people not call me that. Like if I did have that distinction, like please don't refer to me as MD or DM when I'm out, in public. But no, not MD, not DM, just Black Spring. BSWA will do nicely. And the Lockhart perspective says Tata OJ, nice knowing you. I know, maybe we can call that is it a screwdriver? That's a screwdriver. Put whatever you want. Add whatever you want. Let your imagination fulfill, use the mocktail to assist you with, however you want to, lace your mocktail. You got orange juice. Orange juice is the base. We started with OJ as the base. Okay. We always start with the base of OJ and you just add whatever you want. According to Ronnie Mann, the juice man got the mocktail. And yeah, that's very interesting. See, now we'll speak to a little bit of hypocrisy. Okay. And I will try to refrain from using the woke language, but a very short line, of course it is a short line, it's a very short, I'm surprised. I'm actually like, why, OJ, why didn't you get them to televise your jab? Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you do it? R. Jones says what happened to his teeth. I think it was a prop. I think he's trying to be, I don't know. I don't know. And the Lockhart perspective says that boy a fool. And then Ronnie Mann says, how much did they pay for that spot? That's a good question. Because there are lines, if it's not bread lines, it's a mocktail line, So I don't know. I'm just saying, but you see, you're speaking to this whole thing about equality, So are you being an example, or are you just using your celebrity to get to the front of the line? He said he qualified, he went through he shared the process. But did he leave that out? I don't know. The Lockhart perspective says, yes, the mimosa. I got something, but it's not quite a mimosa. It's, but it's no less. It's not orange based, but still citrus based here. Okay, so the Lockhart perspective says, well, that was convincing. I'll run out and do it. What with it coming from such a reliable source and all. See, that's, that's, can we call that old? That's old. That's the old Hollywood elite coming out. They maybe considers himself to be a heavyweight still in this game. Give a little. That's a. He's a. I don't know. That's a little. He's a interesting reputation. We'll leave that one alone. How about that? Ronnie Mann says the mimosa special. Yes, it's certainly a mimosa special. It's a great compromise there. And R. Jones says probably his first paying job in a while. Art Jones, you're never a hair out of place. I really appreciate that. So, since we've kind of warmed you guys up with a little bit of warmed you up with OJ, warmed you up with a moonshot and an OJ testimonial, thought it was only fair that maybe we just go to a little bit of opposition, and I'll tell you where that story is going to come from. And once again, if you guys will take the opportunity around here to, to hit that like button and help the AI, because the AI is working hard, and you're working hard by supporting around here, and I really appreciate it. So if you guys could hit that like button, and if you dare to share it out, that's a whole nother level of support. That's shout out to Derek C. Williams when he says ultra level support. That's an ultra level of support that you can do right. It's right at your fingertips. So I really appreciate it. So before I get into some civic disobedience, and we're kind of in the sports arena right now. So when I come right back, we're going to have a little bit more. So we'll have a couple of commercials, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, we are right back. Oh, the Lockhart perspective. You are most generous. It's kind of, I'm gonna be honest. It's kind of dirty, and sometimes you have good hair days when they're dirty. Like, it could be the best hair day when it's dirty. I really appreciate it, and so yes, I thank you very much, Lockhart perspective. You were most generous. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to follow the best. You're beaming and naturally on point, as they say. So I've got to keep up with the best around here. All right. So have awesome Alice here. Thank you so much. She says it's a beautiful day to be alive. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, awesome Alice. Thank you so much for coming in. And Ronnie Man says, remember people's, whoops. He says, remember, the B&M Gates Foundation dropped $250 million on a campaign to convince the American public to take the plunge. All right. And hello, Touchdown Sean. Nice to see you. I really appreciate you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. And Ronnie Man says, relax, Lockhart, relax. And R. Jones says, both of you ladies glow. Oh, my gosh. Thank you so much, R. Jones. I really appreciate it. So with that, I'm going to take you to a little bit of a story that comes from, it's going to come out of LA, a little teeth behind, saying no to some of these things. And we had a bit of an anti Mocktail protest happening at Dodger Stadium. It was organized Facebook, So let's just have a look really quick. All right. So we're going to take you to this story. All right. So according to this, we had an anti-Mocktail protest at Dodger Stadium, and it was organized on Facebook, including promotion of banned, quote, pandemic video. Okay. So you got to imagine how well that went off, right? Okay. So I'm going to put this video back for a bit. Let me just give you a bit of the gist here in case some glitching goes on. AI is in control. All right. So according to this, the anti-mocktail protest that temporarily cut off access to a mass mocktail site at Dodger Stadium was organized on Facebook through a page that promotes debunked claims about the CV pandemic, mask, and immunization. The Facebook page, quote, Shop Mask Free Los Angeles, end quote, issued a call last week to gather Saturday at the ballpark. Health authorities have been administering jabs to as many as 8,000 people a day at the site, one of the largest mock centers in the country. Such venues form a critical component of the effort to corral the pandemic, which has lashed Los Angeles County so brutally in recent weeks, that oxygen for patients has been in short supply. The online activity illustrates the extent to which Facebook remains a critical organizing tool to the anti-mocktail movement, despite the company's repeated vows to curb the CV misinformation and its assurance that it has removed more than 12 million pieces of such content. It also shows how social networking services could foster more confrontational tactics by those committed to false ideas about the dangers of immunization as the mass mocktail effort ramps up. Quote, I'm concerned that this is the next phase of their anti-mocktail activism, going to places where the mocktail is being distributed and being disruptive there, in quote, said Tara C. Smith, an epidemiologist at Kent State and an authority on mocktail resistance. This is what we were talking about once before. You guys remember we were talking about the digital first responders? They're coming out. The digital first responders. All right, you got to go to Kent State, and in order to be a digital first responder on mocktail resistance, right? That's where you get your credentials, right? Okay, such activity, she said, could come to resemble protest at abortion clinics or demonstrations against stay-at-home orders at state capitals, a prospect that worries public health officials as they aim to spread mocktails in a race against more transmissible and possibly more lethal variants now confirmed in this country. Facebook spokesperson Danny Lever said the company was reviewing the page and would, quote, take action against any content that violates our policies, end quote. Quote, Shop Mask Free Los Angeles, end quote, publicizes opportunities for, quote, maskless shopping, end quote, in violation of state and local rules requiring face coverings outside the home. It posts videos of confrontations inside businesses in Southern California where anti-mask extremists film themselves going toe-to-toe with customers and law enforcement. In the videos, the individuals behind the smartphones rail against what they see as, quote, discrimination, end quote, and medical tyranny, end quote. A message sent to the page went answered. The page itself has only about 3,000 followers, but they noticed about what it termed a, quote, protest/march, end quote, at the mass mocktail site was shared extensively in Facebook groups and on pages fixated on false ideas about masks, such as that they restrict breathing and that the Constitution forbids mandating their use. Names of the online forums include, quote, anti-mask revolution and unmask California. The technology giant committed at the end of last year to enhancing its policies against the CV-related misinformation that included a pledge to remove misinformation about the safety, efficacy, ingredients, and side effects of the CV mocktails, as well as to prohibit ads that discourage mocktails. In a sign of gaps in the company's enforcement, however, the, quote, about, end quote, section of the anti-mask page promoting the Saturday protest included a link to a website devoted to baseless, quote, pandemic, end quote, narrative accusing shadowy elites of enriching themselves by engineering the CV and the mocktail for it. The 26-minute documentary introducing the groundless theory went viral on Facebook in the spring before the company moved to erase it from its platform. When a follow-up came out in August, Facebook blocked users from posting it. But the anti-mask page directs users to, quote, planned Demic, end quote, website that features a wide range of videos devoted to misinformation. Some of the links to the videos are broken. The site elevates claims by the video's central figure, Judy Mikovits, a former scientist at the National Cancer Institute, who has made a series of discredited claims. Okay, where are they? Just here we go with the fact checkers, the hack checkers. All right, hack checker culture. All right. Ellsworth Sfortman, assistant Los Angeles fire chief, said that while scorching temperatures and high winds have interfered with testing and other aspects of the pandemic response, he never expected anti-mocktail activists would thwart other people's access to inoculations. In addition to the demonstration's promotion on Facebook, Fortman said in the days leading up to the protest, he also received word about its advertisement on Instagram, which is owned by Facebook. One post transmitted to the department, which he shared with the Washington Post, came from an account called SoCal Trump Train, end quote. It announced plans for, quote, anti-lockdown freedom rally in March at Dodger Stadium. All right. The protest included about 50 people who waved signs and shouted anti-mocktail slogans, but their presence was sufficiently disrupted to force authorities to close the stadium's gates, delaying thousands of motorists in the line for mocktail. Ultimately, it did not affect the number of people who were able to receive the jab, officials said. No arrests were made, especially in Los Angeles, a hot spot for the CV. Any effort to throw up barriers to mocktails threatens to undermine the pandemic response, said Diana Sheba, the president of the Los Angeles County Medical Association. The disruption, she said, could not come at a worse time, with medical workers racing to stay ahead of the CV variants. Quote, it's so unfair to those who want to receive the mocktail, end quote, she said. Okay, that was a little bit weighty. So, but I'll tell you right off, that comes out of the Washington Post, and we'll just, I'll put that in the stream for you, and you can chew on it however you want. But yeah, it's interesting. You've got some level of opposition going on there. So, that, but you know what, with that said, I'm going to play the video for you. And, this looks like more of a testimonial. This looks like more of a testimonial for those who have been recipients, if you will. I want to make sure I get to this. Actually, I think I'm going to have to refresh this. So hang tight for just a second while I refresh that. And because we do have image, we do have imagery here. So hang on. Sorry, guys. Technology is fun when it works, right? When it works. And who's to say, we're not, we're probably dealing with a concerted effort here to block dissemination even of this information, because it's not being covered on mainstream. You got to go to print, right? All right. So here we go. Let me see. All right, that was a bit short, but you do. All right, sorry about that. All right, guys. Once again, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. So, we talk about things around provocative things around here, whether it's mask edification, no matter what. We try to keep things, what should I say? We try to keep things real or whatnot. I'm going to read a few comments. And hello, TDOA. How are you? How are you, TDOA? And I'm going to read a few comments into here. So you can see, you got some civil disobedience going on. And I do believe that, of course, there was a statement from Newsom on, that they would not be, that they weren't going to be deterred or they weren't going to be stopped. And, he's kind of in the hot seat right now. But according to them, according to some of the media, that things are moving straight ahead in terms of even an impeachment for him. But he's got some heavy offenses, coming against him. Not to mention the whole EDD, kerfuffle with the unemployment, as not to mention the CV. So I don't know. I'm just saying, the chance, we've been here before, people that, whether you follow SoCal or California or not, I'm sure you've heard about the measures. And so I don't know. I don't know what the chances are. I know that there's at least 3 incumbents, 3 people that previously ran for governor want to run against him. And there would be, in order for that to happen, I think there would be a special election in the summer in order for that to happen. But then there would be, these people that are interested in running, their chances. I mean, they've run before. They've run for governor before and they did not make it. So I don't know. It's not going to be my concern soon enough. So I will. So let's just keep going here. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll keep going here. And we have Awesome Alice. Thank you so much. She says they gave them the boot. He says you're talking code, but I understand you. Thank you very much. I try around here. I try to speak code around here. Yeah, I'm working on some other language, but this code is not one of them. Okay. So and Ronnie Mann, thank you so much for the feedback. He says the Twitch connection always glitches for me. Quote buffer in quote central. Well, it's a glitchy time. I got to tell you, that's very apropos. Glitch from the AI. Who knows? But thank you for that feedback, Ronnie Man. I really appreciate it. He says, on a quote authority on vaccine resistance. Yes. All right. And the Lockhart perspective says, my old church in California, CCC is now a mocktail site. Wow. I should flash "We Shall Overcome" on that, right? Okay, so I'm being a little provocative. I'm doing code, but I'm also being provocative, throwing caution to the wind as much as I can. So, but we're going to have something on that. We're going to have, we got a fifth will coming up for you. And another appeal from BLM. I mean, what do you know? And we've got a new person in Congress who's what I'm considering the fifth wheel. I think maybe she kind of aligns herself with the squad and the Sunrise movement. The Sunrise recruited women. So who knows, they are really recruiting the POCs, the blacks. What can I say? All right. So Awesome Alice says they went to Facebook Academy, special degree and fact checker at Woke University, classes of going nowhere. Thank you for that. And and you've passed the test. You've passed the test. Awesome Alice. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's the woke mill. You got the woke mill of at the universities. This is they are activated. But we're going to look at some action projects, et cetera, today on both sides of the coin. So it's like the people versus the elite. So maybe we'll look at that today. All right. And according to Ronnie Mann, he says, wow, my old church is called CCC. They're spewing the compliance rhetoric as well. Well, let me just tap in here just a second. And this is a little background information. Now, we talked about on this show before that the HR 6666, that particular bill offered, there's funding provided I'm not sure if that's, I'm sure it's going to be, it's probably going to have a good chance of getting passed with the chambers, being the way that they are. So there's funding. There's going to be funding for many institutions, especially institutions that may be, low income, those institutions that are struggling. Why else? Of course, they're going to turn those centers into, whether they turn them into testing or tracking or tracing centers. That's very attractive in a time like this, when many institutions, as well as um, our value system is, we've been squelched quite a bit. So those facilities are going to be turned into, they're going to transform those into, they're going to use those for their crisis, right? And it's all solution. You got problems and solutions. We got all these solutions that are always there, just in time. So there'll be money provided, there'll be funds provided for churches and schools. And but that was Bobby Rush's bill out of, he's a Democrat out of Chicago. So there's funding included. And of course, those communities that could use that boost, of course, they're going to turn their spots into moonshots. Okay. And from Austin Alice, sound like a questionable article. Well, it's like I try not to do too much on the language, like, when they say what anti-vax and da 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 da, and then like, what exactly is that? It's like they come up with these word salads, and they just it's and they're empowered. I find that people think that it's very empowering to parrot, the elite campaigns and the projects, and it's, but I'm just like, my gosh, honey, you're not a part of the club. I know your self-esteem is attached to all of these things that they say you should be doing, but you're still not a part of the club. You're just not. They probably think, oh, look at us, we're so cute when we parrot their talking points and their language, and it's all disingenuous to me. But you have some people, they just, they have to be a part of, whatever the elite are talking about. They don't have to have any, they have done no research. They just start spouting off about stuff that they have no idea what they're talking about. No idea. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to keep going here. And Awesome Alice says they call it jab in UK. Okay, and R. Jones says a large impediment is the brief that if something is free, you should be there early to get in line to get it. You got to get up early. And Ronnie Man says mask edification. Yes, there is a mask edification link, of course, on the community tab, and it also falls under no mask for kids. I mean, there's things going on. I did tell you guys that my friends over at CFFS, that of course they have been squelched quite a bit, but their articles are going to be appearing in Epoch Times and two other publications. So sometimes you'll get to see some of those articles here before they even hit Epoch Times, or might be around the same time. So that's kind of, and Patrick Wood is a fantastic writer. So, and Patrick Wood's been on the show before, on the First Amendment. So we'll see, we'll do what we can around here. I'll read a couple more comments, and then we're going to go over and see what's happening with the fifth wheel, what the fifth wheel has, and what BLM is saying. They're turning on full action right now. And according to Awesome Alice, as John Lewis said, a little good trouble. And Awesome Alice says, you're right. They try to fit it in and look like boo-boo. All right, guys. So what we're going to do before we go on, we're going to go to another mini break and just humor me on the graphics. I'm sorry to test these things out on you guys, but I really appreciate it. I want to shout out to everybody in the stream, and shout out to the Lockhart Perspective and Eric C. Williams for shouting out stream. I really appreciate that. I really, it really makes me happy on Wednesday to see that I'm getting zoomed up a little bit. All right, so we'll be right back, and also want to shout out in this little break. I'll be giving a shout out to my newest subscribers on Twitch, and also we'll do a couple of other info ads. And thanks so much, guys. I'll be right back. Guys, I thank you so much for your patience. And just one more ad for our friends, and I think loyal patrons and subscribers and our friends everywhere. And we'll be right back right after this. This show is brought to you in part by our sponsors. Whether you're interested in health, culture, politics, scripture, automobiles, or music, there's something for everyone. So please check out Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Joseph Francis Burton, Paralysis by Analysis, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goth, AZ Infidel, Cold War Jesus, Anthony Scioli, and Let the Truth Be Told. We'll be right back right after this. All right, guys. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to take you over to... Thank you, awesome Alice. I'm not sure that you said the commercial reminds you of Laid Back Jazz Club. Well, at least I gave you gave me an image there. I appreciate it. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go over to the BLM page, and also we're going to go over to a story in which the looks like there's some noise being made about those who contested the E word, and because of that, you can't stay around here, contesting, results. You can't survive like that around here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take you to a story on that. And once again, I hope everybody is doing well out there. Which I will tell you this. Now, this is just a bit of a side note. Now, I think there's another Congresswoman. I think it's Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think she's in the spotlight right about now. And, it's just, she's in the spotlight right now. And, of course, she is amongst the Republicans, I guess, that are under attack right now. Of course, from the squad members and all that business, and the fifth wheel is what we're getting to right now. So we're going to speak to I think it's the new Congresswoman Cori Bush. Seems to be, she's presented a resolution to get these Republicans suspended or expelled. So we're going to have a look at that. She filed a resolution to investigate them and to get them expelled if possible. So, but that's not new news, but I just wanted to let you see that she has the support of BLM. And I'll just show you this article, but it seems like even the tensions between her and this Marjorie Taylor Greene have been caught on camera, and a little bit little bit of tension there. It just seems like a bunch of school kids to me arguing on the playground. Everybody's kind of, what can I say, for the lack of a better word, it's like that first day of school. It doesn't take long to find out who's who the bullies are, or who the, you know, it doesn't take long, but I'm just thinking, if you go in caving, you're going to fold. You're going to fold up like a t-shirt any minute now. But, I got to applaud the efforts. All right. Stripes in the house. Ronnie Man. Ronnie Man, you're everywhere we want to be. Like Visa, right? Thank you so much. And so I'm going to show you the liner on that, but then I'm also going to take you to, a little bit of teeth behind Miss Bush, and we'll rock with that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So let me let you have a look at this. Now, these are not from my vetted source, but I wanted you to see this one. This is coming out of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. According to this, Bush files resolution to expel the Republican lawmakers who objected the E results. By now we know what the E is. Okay. So, I tell you that, they're pretty crafty when they get these, they're setting up attack dogs everywhere. No one is safe. No one is safe. So we'll see. This is a little bit out of, a little bizarre. Maybe they've yanked this one down, but I wanted to give you a little backstory because MTG, that would be Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's been in the news. And of course, even Mitch McConnell has lunged at her. So it looks like, not sure what that's about, but that's interesting that you've got these huge graphics in here, but no story. But that's okay. That's okay. We will not be deterred. We will keep going. We're provocative, but we will keep going around here. So I'm going to stop sharing this with you guys. I love graphics, but that wasn't a part of, that wasn't exactly a part of what I was going for there. So I really appreciate it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take you over. Let's go ahead and take you over to the BLM page and let you see what they're doing to support this, the fifth wheel. All right. So hope you guys are doing well out there. And if you haven't had an opportunity to hit that like button, you'll have a chance to do so before the end of the stream, or, just wherever available. Okay, so what you have here is, let's have a look at it. So, of course, we are in the wokest month of the wokest 28-day month of the year. And you've got that, that global "We Shall Overcome" banner right here. And it says these 3 words. And we're not going to watch that, but I'm going to take you here. So according to this, tell your rep to support Rep. Cori Bush's resolution. We're supporting Rep. Cori Bush's resolution, which would investigate and expel the GOP members of Congress who attempted to overturn the E word and incited a white supremacist attack. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to click on that. Before I do that, I'll show you there's one below that. So that one was published. That one was published on the 1st. So if you are about that BLM shtick, then that's what they're doing. This is their action project for you. All right. Also, they've got the second one for you that was published on January 26th. According to this, now this is their website, so don't attack me. This is on their site. Okay. So according to this, Rep. Jamal Bowman's The Coup Act would require a deep, thorough investigation into the security failures at Capitol Hill during the insurrection. The ties between any Capitol police officers and white supremacy or fascism must come to light. So with that, we're going to click on this. Okay. So this is an action project. All right. So it just tells you, they give you it's complete with talking points and everything. Tell your rep to support Cori Bush's resolution. So as you can see here, you got they give you the propaganda, right? They give you their spin on what happened. There are still people in Congress who played a role in the violent attack on the Capitol a few weeks ago. Okay. It's not enough to denounce the white supremacy behind the attack. We must remove its endorsers from Congress: Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, Lauren Boebert, MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and the over 100 Republicans who voted against certifying the Electoral College. That's why we're supporting Rep. Cori Bush's resolution, which would investigate and expel the GOP members in Congress who attempted to overturn the E and incited a white supremacist attack. Call your representative or representatives now and demand they support Rep. Bush's resolution. When you make the call button, when you click to make the call button, I'm not sure how you click and make the call button. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not the specialist here, the resource specialist here. The system will call your phone and patch you through. Please have your phone ready. And when you speak with your representatives in the office, here's some helpful talking points about Bush's resolution. All right. So it'll tell you about the resolution. They'll investigate and issue a report on whether the members of the House and who sought to overturn this and da da da. See, they give you that you got homework to do. Okay. Now there's actions. Okay. So that's just one. And then the second one, of course, you pass the coup. I think that was similar to that. So yeah. So here you go. Just more. More. So, and I'm going to be honest, I'm showing you this because this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is the type of civil disobedience or activism that's ramping up. And unfortunately, I will say, if we're going to go with shout out to TDOA, if we're going to go with the left-right paradigm, you've got, they are active all the time. They go underground, but they're active all the time. Whether it's theatrical or whether it's staged or whatever you see it, they're active all the time. And while everybody's quite distracted right now, these are the kinds of things that are going on, which I don't know whether they're going to be successful with this or not. Who knows? But I'm just saying these are the action projects that they are using to, put a little teeth, the civic societies are ramping up to, but I will tell you, this actually reinforces or supports the argument that based on what happened in this process that we're not allowed to speak about, they're targeting the GOP. So what happens when you take 100 plus Republicans out of the House or the Senate? You're looking like one party rule, right? Is that see, I'm telling you, people tell you what they're doing all the time. They give you the trajectory all of the time. This is what they're doing. And yeah. So I'm saying, and I think that's the goal, because I haven't even gotten into the HR1 where they want to federalize the voting, the processes of the voting. I'm not going to get into that one on this stream. I haven't gotten into 127 quite yet because there's so many things that are happening, so many things that are going on. But I'm saying these people are mobilizing all the time and they are working underground. So I don't know whether I say, okay, left-right paradigm, take a page out of that book, because these people are organizing and mobilizing all of the time. And they're doing things when you think they're not, when you think they're not working, they are working. So that's what I'm on about right now. So that's I don't know if I needed to show you guys. I think I did show you a picture of Miss Bush, but she is, I think, to me, her energy and her rhetoric is the same. It's the same Marxist. It's all about liberation theories, 1960s style liberation bit. And of course we got the four women, the earlier Congresswomen, and you've got the fifth one now. So, it's just kind of like, it goes without saying, this woman she's got her role. I don't know if she was recruited by the Sunrise Movement or not. I don't know, but I'm saying she is she's got a mission and it's going forward. So, but then I'm just saying, I want to I almost digressed a little bit and went off onto a tangent a bit. But I'm just saying, why does it seem that the blacks are at the front, are the face of all of these, some of the most pivotal or some of the most significant changes that they're trying to make, some of the biggest disruptions, and some of the, the deliberation. I'm making up words, but I'm going to do that. This is Black Spring with Autumn. So I'm just saying they're going to use these people to make us less free. And so I'm just thinking, nobody's safe. When I go into color coded language or this community language or whatever, it's not to exclude anyone. I'm speaking to the whole. You've already got some distension against this administration on Twitter, but they get what you paid for. You get what you settled for. And whether that's an ideology or not, that's what you get. And so yeah, but this is just the beginning. We got a down payment right now, a huge down payment on a lot of things to come. And unfortunately, I think there will be more Black people. The black face will be used to get it done. They will be using it to get it done. And yeah. But it worked on Black people first, so why not? Now it's going to work on everybody, right? So let me read some comments here. I am going off on a little bit of a tangent, but sometimes it's better for me to strike while I'm in the middle of something like that rather than to just keep going. But I'm going to go with Awesome Alice, who says looks like a dictatorship. And the Lockhart Perspective says, why did that emoji put that symbol with the hand on the forehead? What is wrong with this visual? I'll hold. She says, and again, they usher in tap dancing BLM folk. Ronnie Mann says, shucking and living for the machine. Shame, shame, shame. And the Lockhart perspective says hot sauce and chitterling connection. And Awesome Alice says they are like a tree with many branches, deep rotting roots in bad soil. Lockhart says that's what I say. And here we go. I love it. I love it. R. Jones says we receive daily Blues Clues. You guys remember Blues Clues? Wow. Okay. The information is all out there. Thank you, Black Spring with Autumn and Ms. Lockhart and Ronnie Mann. Now we need to all our part and figure it out and tell others. Thank you so much, R. Jones. I remember Blues Clues. I don't know if I could sit through it, but I don't know. Blues Clues. What was it? The Blue Light Special. You guys remember Kmart? Maybe I should just come up with. I'm probably going to come up with some tags or something like that for the channel. We'll have the BS. We'll have the Black Spring Clues. It'll pop out every now and then. Like mocktails. I'll do that. I'll do that for you guys. And R. Jones says, but certain folks are definitely being used. Yes. Yes, they are. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And what I'm going to do right now is I want to thank Ronnie Mann, of course. He's a gold standard in our in stripeism. We're going to call it stripeism around here. And also Old Head Deuce. Thank you, Old Head Deuce, for coming over and joining the community over on Twitch. And Zero Da Infinite. Thank you so much for joining us over on Twitch. And I am, like I said, I'm happy to have you guys. You're all welcome to come there. So we're going to move on. We'll move past the fifth wheel, but I'm telling you, the fifth wheel is not done. Okay, she's not done, and I just and see this is where the tantrum, not the tantrum, but the rant comes in. See, to me, I have it in the community. When I say community, I'm referring to the Black community. It seems that, or we have enough evidence, we have enough examples to support that anytime that there's an opportunity to destroy or disrupt, it's presented, they'll put that person to the front. That representative will be brought to the front of the Black community as a spokesperson or as some, they don't allow, the Black community has yet to pick an actual leader. If that's what you need, if you need a leader, what are the qualifications? What are you looking for? But instead, they're being chosen and plotted for you. So, you don't know where the ideologies are coming from. You just accept whatever you're being fed. You get what's being fed to you, and nobody questions anything. They just accept whatever it is. And I'm going to say this, and this is a provocative thing, take cover if you need to, I don't know, go out, come back in, I don't know, do what you need to do. But I'm saying, I just don't understand why it seems that people are angry because they're Black. But I'm here to tell you, for people that supported wherever you are, when you woke up on whatever day it was and realized you're still Black, no matter what person they put in the office. And there's no edict, there's no mandate, there's no fiat rule. There's nothing that any person in that position can do about it. No, they cannot. And I figure whether you're spiritual, religious or not, if you're mad because you're Black, you're barking up. You're really angry at somebody else. If you're that angry, you got to be angry at somebody else. Because there's just so much emphasis on skin and enclaves of groups and social protections. Like, we're becoming a nation of social protections. And people talk about the normal and all these things. It's just, to me, we've got a down payment on segregation and discrimination is what I see this as. I mean, the criteria, I believe, for housing, and whether it's housing or education, all of that is going to be based on this or something that you had no control over. But it's an excellent divisive method. You can't change the skin color. You can't change what's between your legs. I mean, this is provocative, right? Am I speaking? Am I telling? Stop me when I'm lying. Do that on this channel. Do that. I will not dislike you. I will not hate you for telling me the truth or for fact checking me here. I won't. I encourage you to do that. Fact check anything. Prove all things. Prove and reprove me. I'm saying do that. Do it. All right. So with that said, I'm going to move us back to, we're going to go down to the border on this next one. And, reprove number one. Oh, you can change what's in between your legs nowadays. Right. But you got to destroy it first, right? Is that what they mean? Build back better? Oops. I got pulled down. I got a strike. I'm sorry. I borrowed that build back. Is that how you build back better? I don't know. You don't have to answer that. With that said, we'll go to just a tiny little break here. And we'll get, what I'll do is I'm going to put a test inside of, this one. We'll be right back, guys. All right, guys. I really appreciate your patience and thank you so much for going through the mesh, with me right there. Thank you, Ronnie, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, let me know what you guys. I appreciate the feedback on some of these things. It's nice to hear. And oh my gosh, John H. Roberts, he says, remove and build back better. You got to mutilate and build back better. That's what. Not only do you gotta uh, disrupt, destroy, mutilate, and build back better. Yeah, you got to replace things. It's all about replacing things, right? Sorry about the liquid there, but yes. So with that said, I digress. All right, I appreciate it so much. And R. Jones, very very good point. She says R. Jones, through scientific racism, it's an interesting research check into. Good morning, AZ Infidel. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. And you guys, let me read this comment. Also, if you guys haven't had a chance to hit that like button, if you could do that, that'll help us out around here. Because I'm provocative right now. I could be yanked down at any moment. All right. So Awesome Alice says they scream follow the science, but yet exclude biology. Even biology tells you skin is just an organ, and there is not race gene. See, you see what I'm saying? Now we're getting. We should have called this the hypocrisy hour or something, because we're calling it out, right? That's what we do around here. Okay, so yeah, and then but then also, what about the my body, my choice? It seems, I'm going to be honest, I'm starting to get the sense that a new Me Too movement is on the brink. I'm starting to. It seems like that's going to be this. These things are happening in waves, right? So, don't let the crisis go to waste. Now we got to bring everything back, everything that died down 4 years ago. It's time for it to come back, right? All right. And Ronnie Mann says we follow the science, but the science says that the vaccine is ineffective. Huh. All right. You guys are keeping it going in here. All right. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to move on to a story from our friends at the JBS, and it's going to take us down to Texas, which is, Texas to me I thought was going to be at the forefront of the strategy, or one of the, but we'll take you right over, and we'll get into that, what's happening there, and what Texas is doing. Texas is, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West has a book, Hold Texas, Hold the Nation. And I'm thinking that that's exactly what Texas is having to hold everybody up all the time. So hence, maybe that's, they're down at the bottom of the, in the southern border there, and, they got to hold everything up. And I don't know. We'll see what it looks like. And we're going to go to that story. So we'll be right back, and just a word from our friends over at the JBS.
This segment of our show is brought to you by our good friends at the John Birch Society. Less government, more responsibility, and with God's help, a better world. The JBS is a constitutional and educational organization that's been around for over 60 years, dedicated to upholding and defending the Constitution and working to preserve our freedoms and liberties in this country. The JBS does not endorse any political party or candidates. Rather, it focuses on the education, training, and development of the American voters.
All right, guys. And once again, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. So we're going to go over to our story. And Ronnie Mann says, live on the hypocrisy hour. Awesome Alice says, rev your engines, and buckle up. The 2021 is just getting warmed up. Yes, I agree. And Ronnie Mann says Texas was also the last ones to receive the Emancipation Proclamation memo. Get it together. All right, so here we go. Let's see what we have some dare I say the word sovereign, some sovereign action going on there. So we're going to go. It says Texas moves to secure the border with Mexico. All right. So what you see before you comes from our friends over at the JBS and TNA. And this one's written by Peter Rakowski. And according to this, with the Biden administration pursuing radical open border policies, Texas is moving to defend America's borders in place of the federal government. During his Monday State of the State address, in which he advocated for a number of conservative policies, Governor Greg Abbott announced that Texas would step up its efforts to secure the U.S.-Mexico border, quote, because of the federal government's open border policies, end quote, Abbott stated. Quote, Texas must fortify its efforts to secure our border, end quote. The governor noted that the state already had plans. State already had, quote, plans in their air, boots on the ground, boats on the water, and cruisers on the roads, end quote. And he pledged to expand those efforts. This is not the first time Texas has moved to secure the border with Mexico. In June 2014, as the New American reported, former Texas Governor Rick Perry ordered the state's Department of Public Safety, DPS, to begin emergency, quote, surge operations, end quote, in response to a wave of illegal migration that year. That's actually very accurate. It's migration. Okay, and we talked about, I'm digressing just a slight second, we talked about the Migration Compact that was signed by 100+ nations, but the U.S. did not sign that. And we saw that surge around that time. So I'm going to keep moving on. Less than 2 months later, the DPS had established a sophisticated, quote, multi-pronged, end quote, border operation, including 1,000 Texas National Guard troops, helicopters with infrared technology, a surveillance airplane, and support from multiple law enforcement agencies in the state. Texas efforts have increased since then, with the state allocating up to $800 million for border security in the 2016-2017 budget and hiring 1,000 additional DPS troopers, among other actions. Abbott's border security announcement is one of several actions already taken by Texas to counter the Biden administration's leftist globalist policies. Shortly before Biden took office, Abbott announced that the state was preparing for potential lawsuits against the new administration, and he later directed state agencies to sue over Biden's anti-energy orders. Already, Texas has secured a temporary victory in federal court blocking Biden's 100-day deportation moratorium. There's so much more Abbott can do to counter radical administration actions and federal overreach. This includes enacting the Texas Sovereignty Act, a bill that would create a robust and constitutionally sound process for nullifying unconstitutional federal actions. This would allow Texas to substantively push against illegal Biden administration actions and enforce the U.S. Constitution as understood by the Founding Fathers. However, Governor Abbott's existing actions are good initial steps toward defending the country. It will take courageous individuals acting over these next 4 years to preserve the United States and its freedoms. So yes, so there's you've got Texas doing what they do, and I'm gonna say all the best to them, because who knows with the courts, and that's another situation that I have not talked about, but I'm going to talk about it right now because I'm being provocative right now. I'm being provocative, and I'm going to be provocative right now. In fact, there was a court reform at the Brookings Institute about 2 weeks ago, roughly a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And of course, they are the powers that be, even the former powers that be, are calling for, of course, they want an age requirement at something like age 50. And this was recommended by a former attorney, a former AG. And so not only that, but they want more diversity. And then they're going to expand lower courts as well. So you see what I'm saying? you guys picking up the seeds, connected some of these dots here? If these lower courts are, if they're plugging up, if they're sealing it up, like for whatever they can't achieve via fiat or edict, or what they can't get through in the chambers, they're going to be able to do it on the courts. And if they're going to expand the lower courts, then that means that will undo. I do believe that the Trump administration had secured over 200 plus federal judges. So I just think it's going to put us at a more of a one party. It's going to be a one party rule, is what it's going to be. I mean, some states already have that, like California, New York. Those are virtually one party rule already. But I think that's what it will do. And then if they, they're just doing everything to seal the power. Like the power they'll rule for 1,000 years. I'm going back to Rome. Some of my friends in this chat room, they said, they give us many the context of Rome and very much how our government but they're getting ready to seal it up. I think in which we're going to have a situation in which somebody's going to rule for 1,000 years. And this not being hyperbolic, but it's the same thing. If the courts are all going to be, if the courts are going to go their way, and then they're going to federalize the voting. And then I'm telling you guys, there's a lot of work to be done. So we talk about action projects and who's doing the action projects. I mean, there are things, I know a lot of people want to do things, but I'm not sure. I'm thinking they're not sure what they want to do. But yeah, but their people are always mobilized. They're always active. And it just seems that we're not active. It's just like some people are active every 4 years. Some people are active every 2 years. Some people are active all year long. And so yeah, so that's what I'm on about. That's what I'm on about. So with that said, we're going to do a little bit. I'm going to show you a link that I have that's going to speak to it's going to speak to something that's a little bit of a action project, I guess. I don't know, the way the system is right now, most people don't really want to hear anything about election integrity and I said the word election integrity projects and things like that. But those things are actually out there if you are, because I think there's a host of lawsuits that are still going on. I haven't checked the docket, but I know that on the medical fronts, there's some things that are coming up. So I'm going to share some of that with you, and then we're going to round you guys out on your Wednesday. And I want to thank you guys so much for all that you do. Thank you so much, AZ and Fidel. He's here. I'm going to read a couple comments before I take us into our last installment on the segment. Okay. Let me go back just a little bit. So let me go back to Awesome Alice here just a second. She says, have you looked into what's going on in China and Taiwan last few days? It gets hot there. And Ronnie says, consider supporting the efforts. Oh, I really appreciate it. Thanks so much. And you're working so hard out there. AZ says, anyone remember Texas using gunboats on the Rio Grande prior to 2015? I'm not sure. Maybe I do. Maybe I remember the imagery. AZ. Maybe I remember that. Maybe I remember a story, a local story or something that I saw. AZ says the 10th Amendment was alive and well between 2009 and 2015. And AZ says we should be seeing a resurgence now. Awesome Alice says, reminds me of the book, The Last President. And Ronnie Man says millennial reign. Whoa. And AZ says the Fourth Reich. And have you watched The Specter of Communism and It's Ruling Our World on NTD? I have not. Okay, well, thanks so much. I will certainly look into it. if you have a link, see, you guys can also send me things. Thank you guys so much. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our last, we're going to go to our last story, if you will. Okay. So according to this, let's try to make sure I'm getting to the right place here. So, we'll go to this. We'll go to that later. Okay. So according to this, this is a bit of this is what I wanted to share with you. We're kind of circling back we're looping back into this, to the mocktails or whatnot. So this is from America's Frontline Doctors. I did mention that there was a meeting in Atlanta back in December. And I think I even showed you some clips in which I believe, what was it, Bevelyn Beatty and Ed May, they actually attended that. And I think one other person that I knew of that attended it. But there's actually a website, America's Frontline Doctors, a CV panel in Atlanta, GA. So they have an entire Dr. Simone Gold is, I think she's kind of at the front of this campaign or whatnot. And you guys might need to read, maybe I'll drop this in the link for you. And they're telling you, they're giving you some valuable information. They're even giving you information on how you can actually decline on this mocktail situation. So you might check that out. You might. And I have one other bit. So yeah, shout out to everybody in the stream. So yes, there's a lot of action, I think, that's out there. I don't know, to fight these battles on a legal front. I just don't know how it's going to go. I know people are, they're going to try. I don't know how successful they're going to be. I don't know, but give it a whirl. And if I can, I will post some of these items on the, I'll post some of these things on the not the mocktail, on the community tab. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a statement. So America's Frontline Doctors, they spoke about the CV experimental. They titled it Experimental Mocktail in Atlanta, GA, to a group of faith leaders from across the United States of America in December 2020. And see, that was squelched too. The highly impactful event was gracefully hosted by Urban Global Health Alliance and Alveda King and the Alveda King Ministries. So that was a real event, even though it didn't get the coverage, and of course it was squelched. And I'm going to read this quote from Simone Gold. And it's this Dr. Simone Gold is, looking for support. She's the founder of America's Frontline Doctors and is under vicious attack after leading the fight to save innocent lives and expose massive medical disinformation. According to this, Dr. Gold accepted an invitation to speak on the Jan 6th in D.C. Upon arrival, the event was inexplicably canceled, but Dr. Gold courageously delivered a powerful speech calling for truth and transparency. 2 weeks ago, Dr. Gold and her communications director were arrested by FBI in an extremely aggressive manner. So that's an interesting tag, if nothing else. So you might look that up. She's actually even on the Twitters, I guess, or maybe she has a Facebook page. I want to share this screen. Let me see what I can do. So yeah, because I think this video is only being shown. You can only get it on so many pages. I don't know how I could enlarge this to show it to you. Let me stop sharing that screen. So I actually dropped that link in the stream for you. But this Dr. Simone Gold, they're working her overtime. And so you guys can check that out. I'll put it there, and I'll put another link somewhere else. I mean, you can there's a I guess, a group of doctors. I'm not sure. It's like 10, 12 doctors. I think they might even be the same doctors that appeared on the Capitol several months back. And along with that doctor, was she Nigerian doctor? I think her name was, I can't think of her name right now. It wasn't Ursula. It was, seems like it started with an S, not Stephanie, but I think you guys remember her. She was, rioted and detried as a quack or whatnot, or, you know what they do. Let me read some. Hello, head dude. Thank you so much for coming in. I'll look that up for sure. Awesome, Alice. Thank you so much. And Twitch Drive. It says be sure to connect with me on Twitch. Thanks so much. Yes. Please check out Twitch. Maybe it's not for you. Some people, but but I will tell you, people are getting strikes and people are getting, they're getting 7 days or however much time they give you. Giving people 90 days of jail time or whatever. Silent time and all that. NTD, a 10-part series. Okay. I will take those. Thank you, AZ, for sharing that. And okay, I'm going to keep going here. All right, yeah. So check out. You can check that out. I'm actually going to probably put this on the community tab. If you guys ever go to the tab and something's missing from there, let me know, and I will do what I can to restore it. Okay, actually, now I'm digressing back to my original. I had many follow-up, many support kind of, items to go with the story from earlier. So we're going to go back to the fifth wheel here for just a second. Okay, so I'm going to show you Miss Bush and her push. Ooh, Miss Bush and her push. So I'm going to take you there. That's going to come from the Western Journal, I believe. So you get a little bit more landscape. So I'll put the links up for some of these action kind of a bits. I know of a couple of others, but I think the CV-19 stuff is pretty critical right now. The Mocktail stuff is pretty critical. And, but we'll go over to this. We're going to go back just for a second, back to the BLM team. All right. So here we go. All right. I'm going to go ahead and play this for you. Let you see it. So we've already talked about the effort to support, removing 100 Republicans from Congress. And let me just get, see, that's the thing. It's like, it's there. It was there. Now it's not there. There's actually a video there and it goes away. So yeah, but I imagine they're playing reindeer games. They let me see what I want to see long enough to snatch it down. Okay. So what we're going to do is maybe I can get it. Okay. So I'm going to play it right now. Okay. Believe it or not, I hit the button. All right. We've had the talk. We've had the talk about the technology. Okay. Here we go. I think. I'm going to try to blow this one up for you. Sorry. We've had a bit of a provocative Wednesday stream, to say the least. So, yeah, but you can see where I think you can kind of see where things are going, and I think that specific people were, I think they're recruiting who they want to, almost literally recruiting who they want in Congress right about now. That's a it's a strong statement, but I think it's real. What was that, Ronnie man? We don't have hair and makeup around here. It says, we at Black Spring Media News and Media. We wear our own clothes, and I happen to like oversized sweatshirt, and I do my own hair. So we don't have hair and makeup. I just do it. I'm a one woman show. So thank you for taking notice of the deeps around here. So R Jones says, so this is a question just out of the blue. Wonder how many people in our government believe in our Father. It just seems that they are. It just seems like they're worshiping each other and paying tribute to each other all the time, even when it's a bad crap outcome. Okay, so just shout out to Derek C. Williams. Derek C. Williams ran a great video, great commentary on Cuomo, and in that, Cuomo actually received some type of international Emmy. So you see what I'm saying? It's like this kind of club, that we're dealing with, it's not for us. Okay. And when you think about Emmys and when you think about Golden Globes, these are people that are high-fiving and rubbing each other's shoulders and telling each other all the time how great they are. They don't care about what you and I think. They don't care if you're disrupting their lives, but they got to do what they want to do. That's what I'm saying. It's what I'm on about, So it's very apropos that, it's like they've kind of got they've got the whole world in their hands, and don't make that might sound blasphemous, but they think they do. When you think about it, how many institutions are run by the elite? The education systems are run. Our government apparently is run by the elite and their chosen people. Even if they're an underdog from the underdog class, if you're chosen by them, then they validate. They think that they've been elevated, even if you're an underdog or a part of the, you came from the peasant class and you've been elevated they've invited you onto some level of their community. It's a lower level, but they're still there and they're still happy to be there. And that's why I was talking about this whole culture about, the 4-year degrees and all this kind of a bit. That's their institute. Those are their institutions. You're endorsed by their institutions, whether you go to a regional college or you go to one of their Ivy League schools. It's all created by them. They're training. Look at the schools. The colleges train the teachers, and the teachers train the students. So we're all under this awning. This overarching thing is all on their. It's their rules that we play by all the time. And I just think it's the tentacles are everywhere. So how do we get from underneath? And they say, oh, this is a conspiracy theory. Well, can you explain the conspiracy theory that's publicly available? It's open for people to see. You have the We Forum that's open every single day. They just had the Davos, and you can go. It's an elite group, but I think on some level you could probably attend if you got enough money. If you got enough money if you're independently wealthy, you can attend a Davos meeting. You can be a part of that conversation, maybe on a lower level, but you can still be there. But you notice that the elite won't listen to anybody but the elite. And when I say that, they're going to listen to, they're not going to listen to the gardener. They're not going to listen to a gardener, whether he has wisdom or whatever. They've got to go find another elite, or they got to listen to the actors on the mainstream media networks. They got to listen to their people. And they somehow I think they feel that they're closer. They have a more camaraderie if they are going along. Does it go along to get along? But I think for some people, that's their whole self-esteem is wrapped up into, praising, either Hollywood or, it's also, to me, a trend, or it's attractive right now to be a part of, to be a victim, whether you're a woman or, all these little cultures and little liberation, cultures, and all this the Marxist culture is, people want to be a part of it, even if they have to lie about it. And like I said, I think the qualifications for things are going to change. If they've changed already. You won't know until you walk into it. But it's already there. With HR 9 and HR 5. I'm sure those are going to be passed because they are the teeth behind some of these EOs that have been signed. That Equality Act, the Paris Accord, or that's something else. It's called something else, but it's all about climate change. But there's tons of bills. There's a stack of bills that they've already been passed by the House, and we'll see how far they get. But I'm just thinking the elite actually, they are the ruling class, whether people want to admit it or not. They are. I don't make the rules, right? If I made the rules, would I want to be a part of the elite system? No. But, they're ruling everything already. They're disrupting things already. So what do? All right, I'm gonna read a couple comments, do a couple more commercials. And yes, if you haven't checked out the show on Twitch, let us know. I think I'll probably start doing some actual drives on the Twitch channel as well as this one. I'm doing things here, but I'm going to be experimenting with some things over on Twitch. And yeah, and then of course I will say Patreon, there will be some more. There's already material over there that I don't have on the other platforms, but there'll be some other things. Like, I think if there are interviews that come out, we'll try to, see what we can do with those. I haven't done any interviews in a while, but I'm thinking I'm going to try to bring some of that back. You'll see, time permitting, because I have some extra things that are going on right now, but I'll try to bring that element back on some level. And of course, I'll keep you guys up to date on things. So I'm going to read some comments here. Okay, Ronnie says, but you have to be accredited by academia. And Awesome Alice said, my dad said Congress never been so publicized as they are today, and they say so much in the news that our enemies know all of our weaknesses, all of our weakness. Yes. And R. Jones says, so we know where they, I'm sorry. So we know where they are all coming from and who we are dealing with. We must deal with it all on a spiritual level. Awesome Alice says, notice the elites are strong with their own families and make sure they have a nuclear family to keep their bloodline going, yet fund everything to destroy society and the people. Very apropos. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And R. Jones says they have camaraderie, all right. It is much, much more. And Ronnie Man says, all this stuff is sour, but all this must come to pass before the kingdom comes. It's all part of the larger plan of the Most High. Thank you, Ronnie Man. I really appreciate you for all that you do. And I appreciate you guys so much for coming in. And actually, you know what? I say this all the time. I'm going to open this up for like 5-10 minutes, and then we're going to close out. I really appreciate you guys for coming in on your Wednesday. You guys could be anywhere right now, or you could be taking a coffee break, or I don't know. Does anybody smoke anymore? I'm not advocating for smoking, but you could be anywhere. And but you guys are here taking your coffee break, or your smoke break, or your sandwich break, or I don't know, your juice break here on Black Spring. So I really appreciate that. And I want to give another shout out once again to my followers, my friends, rather. I'm not, this is not a cult. So you're not following me. You're subscribing. So I'm going to give another thanks to my Twitch friends, and I'll be right back, and we'll open this up for a few minutes to close out. All right, guys, be right back. All right. All right. So I am going to open this up just for a few minutes. If you guys have any thoughts. So just while I do that, so you have a recap on today. Recap of the day. We started out with none other than the Juice Man getting the jab, and he got a moonshot. That would be O.J. Simpson, the real O.J. Simpson. That is, they emphasize the real O.J. Simpson. And what else did we have? We went from the real OJ to a little bit of dissension in Dodger Stadium area during a mocktail event that was shut down. And I do believe that KTLA covered that on some level, but I do think that, of course, Newsom tweeted, quote, we will not be deterred or threatened. Dodger Stadium is back up and running. So, you got some civil disobedience there. They said there were no arrests. They said that there were roughly 50 people out there. There were roughly 50 people out there. So we had that particular word, as well as, let's see, we did have a story on the fifth wheel, and that's one of these freshman congresswoman who's the fifth wheel, and she will be referred to on this channel as the fifth wheel, and that's Miss Bush and her friends over at BLM. So there's, you got, that's what but I've said this before, that I think with all this, with the reset ish from the World Economic Forum and all of this business going on, you're going to see more of these civic societies trying to represent or purporting that they are representing specific communities. And they are, to me, they're locking arms to influence the government or power. In fact, BLM's one of their founders. I'm not sure where they are on any of that now, But I'm saying that, they sought some level of power, and they lock arms. They lock arms with these PACs, with these political action PACs, and they try to move, propel their movement forward with these affiliations. So, and that's no different. I would imagine that even this fifth wheel was probably even recruited. We all know that the Sunrise Movement recruited the squad, so I wouldn't imagine that, and I would imagine they're going to be, when this whole lottery comes around again for midterms, I would imagine that some more people will be recruited to push this thing forward. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure how far this administration is going to get with what their agenda is. I'm not sure how much blocking. I'm not sure if these courts are going to uphold anything. My thing is all bets are off, and just to, I'm not a popcorn eater, but I don't know if he's going to receive the same. If he's going to be blocked, they're going to play the kind of games that we've seen on the previous administration. I don't know how much of these things are going to go through, but I think it'll be disruptive enough that it will certainly, if some of these things are successful via edict or court system, it's going to change the culture of this country for decades to come. So yeah, but I really appreciate you guys for coming in. I'm going to go through it and say hello to everyone in the stream, and to thank you guys so much for all your support. And I thank you guys for your patience on the test. And so to go through. So Ronnie Mann, thank you so much again for being here and all of your support. And Touchdown Sean, I really appreciate you so much for coming in today. Nice to see you as always. Da-da-da. Speak of Ronnie Mann, you're here. How are you on your Wednesday? Thank you so much for coming in.
I'm well, thank you. I love the Black Spring with Autumn Network, and I seen the little link in there. I said, let me go ahead and press that real quick.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. And what have you got for us today? We've gone through a swath of things, and civic disobedience, and we've got resistance. We've got people that seem to be coming out, or people that are coming out with action projects, and there's action projects that here and everywhere. If anybody's interested, let me know if you're looking for an action project. I do give commentary, and I do try to report the news, but I also like to have solutions, or I like to find resources for solutions. So what have you got for me? What have you got for the audience?
I mean, first and foremost, if not from concentrate, if it was a real orange juice that is doing definitely real, like Florida Gold, like actual orange juice, then I clearly am going down to the CVS like immediately. I already have my shoes on. And so I mean we have to remember okay. I don't know who actually looked into it, or if you just remember passing it by through the many segments of mainstream the news of the day or whatever. But it was I don't remember seeing it on like any networks, but I definitely seen it in print dozens, like a handful of times. $250 million from the Willie and from the Willie and wife, from the Willie and wife people, to push the campaign that for the efficacy and the safety of a vaccines. So Mocktail, so $250 million for a campaign to push that. And when you look at the graphics, a vast majority of that money went to the Black communities. So how far does 250 mil go is what I'm asking. That 250 mil does go a long way. That's 250 million dollars. So like, I don't know, are you paying people to be the spokesperson? Are you, how is that utilized to get the word out that it is a safe measure? um are you paying publications to write, feel good stories? Or like, I'm not entirely sure how that's utilized, how that money is utilized to push a narrative. But on the back end, however they do it, that's how they do it. But you can't, so you can start connecting dots that actually has taken place, that money has actually gone out for a specific cause. Then you start to see certain things, and then you can put two and two together and say, oh, that's how you're doing it. Or at least for the time being, at this moment in time, this is the aspect on how you are introducing this into the American psyche. And you start to see people like you know celeb, or has been celeb, or I don't know, not to throw anybody's heroes under the bus, but I mean, like, certain heroes, because they give us our heroes, and they give the voice of the hero to the hero. And then you start to see them promoting with such enthusiasm. And we have to remember at the end of the day that they dropped $250 million on a campaign to do specifically this. So do not let your psyche, don't let your mental get deterred into saying, oh, okay. And forget that they have financial backing to push this narrative and to push it into your mental. I did want to state that. Any comments on that?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is I'm not sure how I mean I can see where you're coming from. I will say that I guess what I'm saying is I would imagine that maybe there is, I would think that maybe there's a partnership, or that these people have maybe partnered with people to kind of go out and disseminate the propaganda into communities. um and we've had, and of course during this month I would imagine that effort would be, it would be a little bit more
Double
intensified.
down.
uh, what's that?
I was just saying double down, especially for this, the 28 days of February.
Yes, yes, yes. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think so. And see, to me, OJ, I'm going to just put this out here on a cultural tip, if you will. OJ Simpson has a unique relationship, I think, with the Black community, for instance. And I think because of his, when people get in trouble, the thing about the Black community, they'll pull your card, and they'll resend it, and it's a volatile relationship to even be Black. Okay. When you're dealing with celebrities, if you do something they don't like, they'll take your card. But if you come back to them in need of help, and it actually happens to be the opposite, somebody with the opposite background, that you through struggle, you might be able to get that card back. Are you picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah, I hear you.
So I'm wondering if OJ was, and he's played that before. He's played that card. He's been, I think, kind of, if you will, for the lack of a better term, he's been disowned on a few occasions. But I think that, I don't think he's beyond being recruited for making an appearance, and saying, oh, hey, look at me. I got my shot. Did you get yours? And I mean, some people, they need that. I don't know whether the Willy Wonka factory, if they have a coalition of people that they want to use, to propagate. But I wouldn't put it past them, but Gates has got a record all over the world for his interaction and his involvement with mocktails, whether it's the Italian Parliament or the African countries. He's got his reputation, but I don't know. But I almost think that even he is a little bit in lockstep with the government because, they all have that. I think they've doubled down. They've doubled down on many areas to get this. Yeah.
Well,
They,
you definitely have to be in cahoots, and you have to be streamlined. Everybody has to be on the same page in order to streamline the game plan, the rhetoric, the narrative, the full steam ahead. And if you're gonna full steam ahead, everybody has to be in place so their cog doesn't kink up, and in order for it to be a smooth, well-oiled machine. And we already seen a lot of hiccups thus far. So I don't know. Have they gone to regroup, because all of a sudden now we're hearing the variant strand narrative, and then so I have questions on the variant strand. So if we have a mocktail that's supposed to be Superman, for the issue of the day, then how does, like, eh, if there's a new variant strand, then it kind of renders that mocktail null and void moving forward. So it's like the initiative. I don't know. It seems like that for a second, um, the narrative got a little bit derailed, and they have to go back to the drawing board so they can come full steam ahead. So all the powers that be, financially and governmentally, of course, they have to come together so they can push a strong movement moving forward to be able to effectively accomplish whatever the end game is that they're trying to accomplish.
yes, yes. I totally agree, and I think that's what we've kind of pivoted around that. We've pivoted around that when we talk about the agendas like the Davos and the the GR and the 4IR agenda. They want everybody work. They want the corporations and the government working together in lockstep. And of course, the financiers, they can use them to for their pathos or their the kratos. They can use them in conjunction with it, and it has to be. Even Klaus Schwab himself of the We Forum said that it's good whether they're successful with this 4IR or the Great Reset greatly depends on how good of a job the governments do. And I think that also includes their auxiliaries like the Willy Wonka factory.
Of course, of course,
So,
of course.
yeah,
Um,
but
and oh, I'm sorry. I'm
no,
sorry.
you're good.
Well, I was gonna say, as far as to I definitely don't want to come in and just keep on going with a certain angle. But the angle that I'm always coming from. So if you are abreast with the prophecies of Revelation and the prophecies of Daniel in the Bible, the prophecies of Amos. I mean, you can continue on. Zechariah, Zephaniah, all of the prophets that spoke of these end times that are playing out. In actuality, these things that seem nefarious and come off to be uh, controversial, or Confederate against the people, or what have you, like these things are actually playing into the narrative and the dialogue of those prophecies of the Bible. So it's quite telling how accurate, as we're moving forward day by day, these scriptures called it 2,000, 3,000, 3,500 years ago. But namely, what I'm getting at is that all of these things, yes, they are nefarious. They are, it like you said, it's a breakdown to build back up, and you have to break down so you can build back up. Um, Especially when maybe you intentionally meant to build something that way in the first place, but it didn't. It meandered along the way. So you have to double back and then find out where you need to start the reconstruction. But definitely there is a reconstruction, and it is playing into the narrative. So this is the thing. At the end of the day, if you agree and adhere and subscribe to the biblical attribute, to the things that the Bible has to say, and then you're pro that angle, then in actuality, all of this stuff must manifest itself, and we really shouldn't be fighting it. We should just be bracing and hoping that it is a swift transaction, because at the end of the day, like, we already know who wins. So it's kind of like the storm, the quiet, and then the storm, and then the aftermath, and then the sunshine, shines again, type of thing. And we just have to grit our teeth and bear through it. Not to say to like as like you're just condoning something just by standing by or whatever, but more so, these things have to play out. These are actually very vital pillars in the progression of what is to be, as far as the scriptural rhetoric is concerned.
Well, that's very interesting perspective. Not just interesting, but I think it's you were saying bracing. I like the term bracing that you used. Yes. So you're saying so Ronnie's saying less reactionary, but
I
more
mean,
bracing.
they're gonna come. They're gonna come off the top, seemingly off the top of their head, with just the most outrageous thing, and they're gonna throw it at us to see what sticks. So yeah, I could say that we might be a little bit reactionary, in the sense, like, it's coming as a surprise. Like, really, this stuff is coming as a surprise. Maybe if we're just opening up our eyes, it's coming as a surprise. But if we've been, if we peeked out from our safety net and our safety zone and under our umbrella sanctuary, we've seen some, things that don't add up correctly, and maybe we've just turned a blind eye to it because we're comfortable at the moment. But the fact remains is that this stuff, we it should not be a surprise by now.
No.
Appalling, yes. Frustrating, of course. But I mean, like, a surprise, like, come on, man. This is, they're playing into what they do best, and we're continuously, like, acting like they should know better. Like, this is something new. This is something actually regular, and it's something etched out as far as what their game plan is, and they're going to execute it. As you can see, it's going to be executed.
Well, just for a second, I'd like to post a little bit of an imagery here for anybody that's just tuning in. We're wrapping up today's stream, and we're wrapping it up with our opening. We're bringing it full circle, closing it out with the real juice, aka OJ. And what you see before you is actually going to be, you get to see the visual of the juice. Can I say that? Is that 219?
That's the only way to close it out. That's the only way to close it out, with the visual of the juice.
Yeah, and grab some juice off the shelf, and I don't know, maybe he took it. Maybe he sometimes you can take that juice and it'll go down a little bit better before you get that. That's a chaser. He took it with a chaser, right? Not straight, but with a chaser, with a moon juice and moon shot, right? That's the chaser with the juice. The juice is chasing. All right, guys. So yes, that is Mr. OJ pictured here. Basically saying, he's what do they call it? Rah rah.
Mimosa special.
Yes, he got the mimosa special.
Right.
He didn't want it straight up, but you got it. You didn't get it straight up, but you got it with the OJ. So we can't beat it. And then, by the way, Melinda Ann Burns, thank you so much for coming in. She says 3 masks now. 3 masks.
Is it 3? Last time I read it was double. Now it's 3. Gotcha.
Why stop at 3? You know?
You just walk out with a mattress on your face. Let's go. Come on, let's go.
But I've said this to the Lockhart perspective. Shout out to the Lockhart perspective if you're still out here. Yeah, like why stop at 3? I mean, but it's like people are under a spell. I mean, is that a little too hyperbolic? Melinda says, I will not go along. I'm too old to start now. What do you think? And when I say spell, I'm not saying that I even know what I'm not even saying that I'm speaking as if I know any form of spells or spellisms, but it just seems like, how do you get a conscious people to participate in their own demise? No matter the background. Are you picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah. And I don't want anyone to take me the wrong way. Maybe I'm taking this comment the wrong way or what have you. But when it says, when Miss Melinda Ann says that she doesn't want to go along to get along, she's not having that. Like, I'm definitely not condoning and, telling people, or suggesting, I should say, that, we should just, be quiet and let things, mull over. I'm definitely not on that train. I'm just saying, when you compare the actual events of, the day on a worldwide level, and then you compare it to, when you take that and then you compare it with the accounts that are going on in Revelation, they match up. So I'm saying that these things actually play out to get to the end game. And I'm not talking about the globalist end game. I'm talking about the end game of the biblical narrative. When we're planted by the rivers of living water and stuff like that, all the good stuff. These small little details that are major earth shakers and game changers, these things actually have to play out to advance to the next phase, that advances to the next phase, that advances to the next phase, to eventually bring back, the kingdom that we're all waiting for. That's that's what I'm saying. I hope I'm not being misconstrued or saying it at a slant that makes it sound like we're just supposed to be passive in those regards.
Sorry, I didn't interpret your commentary or your assertion in that way. I didn't. I understand the context of what you're asserting there, and I think it's very apropos, and it's very it's relative, and I think it's more real than people want to admit. And I've said this before. Many people, whether you're dealing with something that's factual or whatever, a lot of people, they would rather be, I hate to say, they'd rather be lied to, but if you tell them the truth, oh my gosh, if you tell them the truth about anything, if you tell them something that you can substantiate, if you can support an argument versus what they're doing, they're still going to somehow be more angry for you sharing what you can actually support, or an actual, whether it's a study or something, than they will be just, they need that. Oh, it didn't come from the people at, from the ABC networks. Oh, I can't. That couldn't be credible.
Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
So, and I'm going to paraphrase something once before. I think I heard once before, maybe this was a Ronald Reagan quote, that most people won't believe things that they don't see on television. If it's not really, if a certain, whether it's a ideology or even the science, if it's not communicated to you on TV, then they won't believe it. Now, is that something that's privy to that the elite know? Probably. I think I think they're kind of groomed to lay things on thick. And sometimes they're bad actors, but they still reach somebody. They reach somebody.
Well, you can be a bad actor all day, but if you're pushing the narrative and you hear something a million times, you can hear a lie a million times, and next thing you know, the lesser mindset or the weaker mindset or the individual who is just wafting around on the wave, they're gonna go ahead and start to regurgitate that. So I mean, bad actor all day long, but as long as I'm pounding this thought process into your brain, this time next year you'll be subject to everything that I've told you.
Yes, yes, yes. And I'm going to read a couple comments here. And looks like Melinda Ann Burns says, deaf, dumb, blind, and stupid. It's worse than being in love. Woo. And from Anarchy Television, hello. He says, mass hypnosis did Stockholm Syndrome on a massive scale. Thank you so much, Anarchy Television. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to yield back to Ronnie Mann. Would you like to give us a final assertion on today, or are you closing? Are you happy with where you are?
I don't have a rounded conclusion for everything that you have touched on today on this segment, but I do have something that is interesting just in my brain, and it's based on the three mask mandate.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a mandate or the three mask rhetoric. It's quite interesting. It's like it's a whole bunch of group of staff writers or what have you, or screenwriters in my mind's eye, for a sitcom, and they're just sitting around saying, cracking each other up, trying to find like the funniest anecdote or the funniest circumstance situation that they can throw into a scene or a scenario. And hey, let's tell them that they have to wear three masks, and they're all just laughing and giggling and chuckling, and then someone's like, oh, that's great, yeah, let's do it. And that's what it kind of seems like. It's good gracious.
Yes, yes. It's so funny that you say that. I was thinking myself, I mean, it's like classic TV, like who's the director? Who's the director of this film? They're just, take two, splash them with water. Let's do this. They just keep throwing things out. But that's been our authority, right? That's the kind of directive that we've kind of got. We've gotten a flip-floppy directive many times throughout this whole process. I mean, we're coming up on a year. We're over 300 days into the LDs by now.
It's definitely a tale of two administrations.
Right. And I don't know. I mean, you just go from one extreme to another. You say 1 minute, you say, oh, it's not working. Dr. Fauci has been on tape, been on record saying one thing, and then but then he's on record saying another. But then if somebody uses his words against him, what do? It's like they have the same coach. They all have the same. If you use your words, use their words against them, then that's when you really start to see, it really falls apart. It's not quite hanging in there. And if you're not paying attention, everything's just fine, right? It's all fine.
I commented earlier, it's like people are talking about using the science and trusting and believing the science, but the science doesn't even condone the fine print of the science lets you know that, well, in actuality, it really doesn't keep transmission at bay, and you still can get it. And all of these things, all these side notes and disclaimers, but these are the same mindsets that are trusting the science. So but when the Science is fork-tongued when it's saying this, two things outside of your face. It's just like, which one do you believe? And then, so if you're saying two things at the same time, that goes back to let you know that you're believing what you want to believe, because this one entity has told you two things at the same time, but you're only believing one of the things that they're saying. That's you. That's your mindset. Whereas, a sober-minded individual will see, hey, I can't trust anything that these people are saying right now because they're saying two things at the same time.
Yes, yes, precisely, precisely. And I'm not sure what the cure is for that. I don't know. It's. I think it goes back to the whole Yuri. What is it, Bezmenov? It's a subversion. You can't. I don't know. They could touch something different, and it wouldn't make a difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It could
it
bite
is
them.
a subversion.
You could bite them. You could
It
bite
is a
them, and they
subversion.
still won't.
I'm not sure what happened to your feed, to your mic feed, but you went away. But nonetheless, yeah, it's just really interesting, and it makes room for um you telling on yourself as far as what your bias is. And like I said, a sober-minded individual can see, okay, you're biased and you're slanted in that mindset because you're taking the same rhetoric, and you're taking the same double rhetoric, but you're only listening to this aspect of it. So that does actually highlight the individual's bias.
Yes, I mean,
And maybe that's a part of the game plan. Who's to say?
yeah. Is it? I'm thinking, is that what they mean by the cognitive dissonance? Almost, people spend all their
Black
time.
Spring, you are either muted or you're having some audio difficulties.
Is it still muted now? Am I still muted? Hello. Let's see. Are you? Let me come out. Let's see. Can you guys hear me? If you just give me a 1 for sound. Hey. Still no sound? Ay. Okay. Not sure why that's happening.
Well, you know what? Maybe it's just me, and if it is just me, I apologize. Maybe that's my
No
cue to
problem.
keep it moving and to, politely bow out.
Well, of course, it's
So,
just
in
as
saying
well.
that, I apologize.
Oh, no problem. No, but I appreciate the feedback. But yes, I really appreciate you for coming on, and and you're like, poof, you're gone already. But thank you so much, Ronnie Man, for coming up. And thank you guys so much for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to give a couple of more ads here. And we're going to be saying so long on your Wednesday. And I want to thank you guys so much for coming in. I'm going to go through the list very quickly, run a couple of ads, and then we're going to get out of here. All right. Thank you so much, Awesome Alice, for your support and stimulating our chat as always, like none other. And also Ronnie Man, thanks so much for being gold standard and helping us out here as always, and for your insightful commentary and for being a guest at the 11th hour. And the Lockhart Perspective, thank you so much for coming in and supporting the channel and all that you do. And I want to thank the Definition of Anarchy so much for all that he does and supporting the channel. And you guys check each other out. We have like really heavy hitter content creators in here. Fantastic. And so maybe check out, you may find a kindred spirit. You never know. R. Jones, thank you so much for coming in. And let's see. I think I had AZ Infidel. Thank you so much for all that you do to support the channel. John H. Roberts Jr. over on Periscope. Thank you so much for coming in. And We have Touchdown Sean. Thank you so much for coming and supporting. I really appreciate it. It's nice to see you as always. Old Head Deuce, thank you so much for coming in. And yeah, you guys keep your eye on the community tab. Melinda Ann Burns. I'm sorry, Melinda Ann Burns. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. And Anarchy Television, thank you so much for coming in and supporting. Ted, thank you so much for coming in. If you guys have a 3 mask post, Ted is in need of a laugh. So thank you so much, Ted, for coming in. And we had some OJ to start out our show today, and I appreciate you guys so much for coming in. And also, Ted says, for anyone else looking, I tried to find a mandate for government or comments from Fauci on 3 masks and couldn't. Well, I think I've seen, maybe not. I'm not sure if it's on 3 masks. I know there's at least 2, but I've seen some of the other networks, some of the mainstream networks where they had somebody putting on 2 masks the other day. I'm not sure about the 3. I've seen the 2. I saw the 2 during that inauguration, that exercise. I've seen that, but not so much 3. I haven't seen 3 yet. I said, why not? Why stop at 2? Why not? And then so Melinda Ann is following up right there, Ted. So there you go. But we'll be right back. We're going to run a few info ads, and then we're going to be saying so long on your Wednesday. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll be right back. Right. This show is brought to you in part by our sponsors. Whether you're interested in health, culture, politics, scripture, automobiles, or music, there's something for everyone. So please check out Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Joseph Francis Burton, Paralysis by Analysis, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goth, AZ Infidel, Cold War Jesus, Anthony Scioli, and Let the Truth Be Told. We'll be right back right after this. All right, guys. You guys have all been fantastic. Let's see. Let me stop. You guys have all been fantastic on the end of this stream, as always. And I hope you guys have a great Wednesday. And I am more than out of focus right now. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next live stream in the comments section or on a video. And I do apologize for the wonky visual there. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day and take care.